Welcome students. Today's topic is changes around us. Just observe the things around you. Many things that we see around us are constantly changing. Example, milk is turning into curd. Many changes may be physical changes and some of them may be chemical changes. Example for physical change you can take, that is folding and unfolding of paper and again bending an iron rod. And chemical change, here you can take digestion of food and burning of paper. And in this lesson we are going to do about chemical changes in detail. What are these chemical changes? Chemical changes are permanent changes and they are irreversible changes. And at the end of the chemical reaction, you can see new products will be formed. Chemical changes are also called as chemical reactions. Here, one or more substances that we call them as reactants. Reactants combine together to form one or more new substances and we call them as products. Products are found here. Next we are going to learn about the factors which are determining the chemical reactions. We should understand that the chemical reactions does not occur at all conditions. It needs specific conditions for chemical reactions to occur. What are the specific conditions? The first one will be the physical state. What is this physical state? For some chemical reaction to take place, these reactants must be in their naturally occurring state. What is this naturally occurring state? Either they can be in the solid state or liquid state or in the gaseous state, and this is called as the physical state. For example, quicklime combines with water to form silicate lime. Here quicklime is in the solid state and water is in the liquid state, and again silicate lime, again it is in the liquid state. So totally you can just sum it up and say, for some chemical reactions to take place, the reactants must be present only in their physical state. And the second one will be solutions of reactants. To explain this point, let us take a simple example. Take a test tube, and in this test tube you can take solid silver nitrate. Again add here solid sodium chloride. Just observe what happens. The reaction does not happen here. Why the reaction does not happen here? Because both the reactants are in solid state. Now take another test tube. Take silver nitrate, add water, just dissolve it. Now this becomes silver nitrate solution. Again take another test tube, take sodium chloride here, just add water, dissolve it. Now it becomes sodium chloride solution. Now just mix these two solutions. What are you going to get? You are going to get, just observe what happens, you are going to get a white precipitate. This white precipitate is nothing but silver chloride. This could be well explained by an equation. Silver nitrate, when it reacts with sodium chloride, it forms silver chloride plus sodium nitrate. This is your white precipitate. So at the end of the reaction you can conclude that for certain reaction to take place, the reactants must be only in the solution stage and it must not be in the solid stage. And the next point will be electricity. We know very well that electricity is very essential for us. Not only for us, for certain chemical reaction to take place, electricity is very important. See, we know that water is made up of hydrogen and oxygen. When you pass electricity through water, what happens? Hydrogen and oxygen gases are liberated here. That also could be explained very well by an equation. Water, when you pass here, you get hydrogen and oxygen. Just you can balance it here. So 2, so 2. So hydrogen and oxygen gases are liberated, and this process we call it as electrolysis. Not only this, another example also I can give you, that is a very concentrated solution of sodium chloride, which you call it as brine. When you pass electricity through this brine solution, hydrogen and chlorine are liberated. And you should understand, children, this reaction is very important because this is used in the preparation of chlorine industrially. And at the end of the reaction, you can just sum it up and say that for certain reaction to take place, passing electricity is very must, or it is very much essential, and those reactions are called as electrochemical reactions. And the fourth point will be heat. And for certain reaction, heat is must. Let us see for what reactions. You can just take an example first. Take a test tube here, and you are taking here lead nitrate. Lead nitrate is in the solid form, just you are heating it. When you are heating it, just you are supplying heat here. When you are heating it, you can hear a crackling sound, and again you can see reddish brown colored fumes. What is this reddish colored brown colored fumes? It is nothing but nitrogen dioxide gas. So for this reaction to occur, heat is very, very essential. So you can just sum it up and say that for certain reaction to occur, heat is very essential, and those reactions are called as thermochemical reactions. Thermochemical reactions. And the fifth point will be light. We know that sunlight is very essential for us. Not only for us, it is essential for the plants also, because plants undergo a process which is called as photosynthesis. Why do they do photosynthesis? They do photosynthesis in order to manufacture starch. Starch is manufactured only by the process. So here, to prepare starch, what are the things that is used up? Carbon dioxide, water, chlorophyll, together with sunlight, plus sunlight. So here sunlight induces the reaction between carbon dioxide and water. Such reactions in which sunlight plays a major role, or light plays a major role in inducing the chemical reactions, and they are called as photochemical reactions. Photochemical reactions. And the next last one will be catalyst. What is this catalyst? This catalyst is nothing but chemical substances which are added when the reaction takes place. And these, what is the purpose of adding these chemicals called as catalyst? They will quicken the reaction. So that is very important. These catalysts will quicken the reaction. For example, in Haber's process, in the preparation of ammonia, you are adding metallic ion as a catalyst. Here, metallic ion quickens or fastens the reaction, and at the end of the reaction, the catalyst, the most important thing that you should know is the catalyst does not undergo a change by itself, it only quickens the reaction, and such reactions are called as catalytic reactions. So these are the factors on which chemical changes depend upon. Next, we shall move into the next topic, how the biological factors, how biological factors are affected by, what are the biological factors that are affected by the chemical change. The first biological factor will be food spoilage. What is this food spoilage? Any reaction that takes place which makes the food unfit for human consumption, you cannot eat it at all, that is called as food spoilage. What happens during food spoilage? Here there is a chemical reaction which is acted upon on the food, and because of which the food quality is much degraded here, and at the end of which you get a bad smell and a bad taste, and this is called as food spoilage. And you can very well cite the example of rotten eggs. See, when you just open the rotten eggs, you get a very bad smell. Why? Because you get a very bad smell from the rotten eggs because of the presence of hydrogen sulfide. This hydrogen sulfide present in rotten eggs gives you a very, very bad smell. And the second point will be rancidity. What is this rancidity? This, when you are taking meat and fish, they contain high level of polyunsaturated fatty acids. They contain high level of polyunsaturated fatty acids. These polyunsaturated fatty acids, what they do is, when that is the meat and the fish are exposed for long in the open air, because of them the bad odor results, and that process is called as rancidity. And the next one will be certain fruits like apple and brinjal. In certain fruits like apple and in certain vegetables like brinjal, when you just cut to open it, what happens? This is your apple. When you just cut this apple, what happens is, when that portion is exposed here, that portion alone becomes brown. This portion turns brown. This process is called as browning. This is called as browning. Why do you call that process as browning? Because that is the, how does that happen? Because polyphenol oxidase. Polyphenol oxidase is present especially in certain vegetables and in certain fruits. So, because of the presence of this polyphenol oxidase, that reacts with the oxygen which is present in the atmosphere, and it results in the production of a brown colored pigment which is called as melanin. This melanin is formed, and because of the presence of the melanin, it turns brown, and such reactions are called as catalytic biochemical reactions, and these are the biological factors which are affected by chemical changes. Next, let us see about environmental factors. Not only biological factors, environmental factors are also being affected. What are the environmental factors? And in this, the first one will be pollution. We know very well that nowadays automobiles are increasing at a very faster pace, a very faster rate, and not only automobiles, industries are also fully growing. What happens because of the very faster rate in the production of automobiles and industries? What happens because of that? Our environment is very much affected. So, any undesirable change in the physical, chemical or biological properties of the environment is called as pollution. Here we have three types of pollution. The first one will be air pollution, the second one will be water pollution, and the last one will be land pollution. We will be doing in detail in our next classes. Okay, then the second one will be see, when iron is exposed for long, what happens to iron? When you expose iron things for long, that is when it is exposed in moisture for long, this iron absorbs the moisture and it turns reddish brown color. Why does it turn reddish brown color? Because of the formation of reddish brown color is formed. This happens because of the chemical reaction which is called as rusting. This happens only in iron. So, this is a process which is happening only in iron articles. Next one will be tarnishing. Certain metallic surfaces will be very shiny, but in course of time they lose their shining appearance, that is they lose their luster and they turn very dull. Why does this happen? For example, you can take silver articles. This silver, when it is exposed for long, it combines with oxygen which is present in the atmosphere and it forms silver oxide. Just let us balance it 2. So here let us put it as 2, and so this will become 4. So the silver oxide is formed. Because of the presence of this silver oxide, you get a black color. The silver oxide is black in color. So silver, when it is exposed to atmospheric air for long, it forms silver oxide, which is black in color. This process is called as tarnishing. Not only in silver this happens, even in copper vessels, when it is exposed for long in outside, that is especially they react with the oxygen which is present and they form copper carbonate and copper hydroxide. And the next point will be production of heat. What is this production of heat? When some chemical reaction takes place, a small amount of heat will be generated from the reaction, and we call them, such reactions, we call them as exothermic reactions. For example, when quicklime is added to water, it reacts with water and forms laquid lime. When you just touch that solution, you can feel that warmth. So this is an example, very good example for exothermic reaction. And next one will be production of sound. In which chemical reaction sound is produced? In the reaction, that is, for example, when you ignite firecrackers, what happens? Lot of sound will be produced. So this could be a very well, you can take this example for production of sound. And the last one will be production of light. Take a small piece of magnesium ribbon, just ignite it. This burns very well. How does it burn? It absorbs oxygen from the atmosphere, starts burning very brightly. When it burns, lot of light will be given out together with heat. And these are the factors, environmental factors, by which, that is chemical changes, how do they affect the environmental factors, we have done in detail. And that's all for today's class. Thank you, children.